Hey everyone, welcome. I will take a few seconds to post this in the group and we will get started. So when you are hopping on and if you're on live right now, let me know if you could hear me. Send me maybe a thumbs up or a heart. Let me know where you are tuning in from. And if you are watching the replay, just drop a replay in the bottom in the comment section and I will go back and say hi to you. Hold on a second. There I am. I just want to share this in the Facebook group with all the other people in there that are ready to learn. So a few things have happened the last few weeks and I am ready to get back on it. Missed you guys. We were away on our yearly vacation. Hold on a second. Let me just share this in the group because Facebook sometimes is really strange. Oh, there you go. No. Okay, so we are live in the group as well. So I just wanted to give you guys a heads up. I am in my bedroom. I have locked both doors. All my kids are at home. We start school next week. But I really wanted to go live in the group and I didn't want to post a pre-recording. We just got back from vacation. It's that craziness that all mom knows, all the mommies in the group know, the back to school shoe shopping and supply shopping. And I have one that's starting high school this year and twins that are starting kindergarten. And then my almost 8-year-old is starting grade 2. So it's really busy and it's really hectic, especially if you are working from home online. Obviously I can't make my kids disappear, so if you see them pop up, which I hope they don't, but if you do, just know that they're here, they're somewhere, and it's all good. It's a part of being a mom and a part of running your own business online. So we just came back from our 2-week holiday. We went to Cape Cod and we had a good time. My husband used to go there every single year. I used to go there as well, but not as often as he did growing up. And we had a blast. We had a good time. It was nice to disconnect and it was nice for my kids to get off iPads and Fortnite and Minecraft and just enjoy themselves, enjoy each other, enjoy the sand, the sea, and the good weather. We had awesome weather and just disconnect from life, I guess, for 2 weeks. And it was really important and I think necessary for me because a lot of things have been going on in the summer and I was getting really anxious, and I'm sure a lot of you can relate. When your kids are at home in the summer, yes, maybe you don't have to pack lunches and you don't have to worry about homework and stuff, but I have anxiety problems, and when everyone's in the kitchen and I have a lot of things going on, and if you're running a business and you just want to hit those deadlines and just to keep going, it's hard because you feel like you're always running out of time and that you are, letting someone down and the mommy guilt kicks in, but you want to, offer service to your customers, but at the same time, your kids are there and you want to be a mom. So I find that my body wasn't keeping up with everything I had to do, and I was getting heart palpitations and anxiety and headaches and just not feeling like myself. So I knew I had to stop something, and I really took those 2 weeks really to regroup, to recharge, to disconnect, and really come back in better shape. So for those of you that don't know me, I am Christina Rizakos. I am a busy mom of 4. I am an early childhood educator by trade, and I'm also a daycare business owner. I have over 21 years experience in the field, and I opened my center when I was only 23 years old. It was 15 years ago. It was a fun time, a hectic time, but I wouldn't change it and I wouldn't have it any other way because I learned so much. So I added a bunch of you in here and I wanted to welcome you to the group. I do go live in this group every single week. And if for some reason I don't go live, I always post my videos on my YouTube channel. So if you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, I will post all the links below this video. So make sure you've subscribed to my newsletter over at www.profitabledaycare.com. and check out the YouTube channel as well, because I prefer making videos. I think it's easier, it's funner, and my videos are not very long because I am not a big believer of wasting anyone's time, right? So I value everyone's time, and I believe that I can get my point across and teach you what I need to teach you in my own way, in a way that regular people out there can understand. So check out my YouTube channel. Again, I'll post the link below in the comment section. So a little backstory about me. I'm from Montreal, Canada, and I grew up in a household where, I was taught the good old fashioned way. You go to school, you just go to college, get a job, just get married, have some kids, and maybe have a few $1,000s saved up on a savings account somewhere, and your life will be awesome and great. And I believed that growing up until I started nursing school in college. I'm in Canada, so our college is called CEGEP, and I was 17, 18 years old, and I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life after high school. Like, I had no idea. I loved cooking, and I loved kids, and I loved things like that, but I couldn't understand at that point how I can make a living doing this, right? My dad was a chef in a restaurant, and when he heard that I wanted to follow his footsteps, he freaked. He was like, there's no way you're going into cooking school. That's not a real job. Forget it. Pick something else. So being 17, 18 years old, I decided that I would become a nurse. I didn't have any care for nursing. I hadn't really thought about it that much, but I just thought, I could try this, and, we'll see how it goes. So it wasn't up until my very last semester in nursing school, that I decided to say, hey, this is not for me. I was not happy. I was getting up in the morning really early, going to the hospital, doing my field work. I had my nursing friends and homework and all that stuff, and I hated every second of it. Not because I hated school or because I hated learning, just because I hated what I was doing. And I had to stop in my tracks and make a really big decision, and that's when I decided to stop school altogether and figure out what the hell I wanted to do with myself, because I wasn't happy, and I was not about to go down that route where I saw everyone around me growing up, where you just get up and you're miserable and you go to a job that you hate, and you get married and you have kids, and you have to be that mom that gets up and works and leaves your kids somewhere, and you're miserable and you're working for the weekend, and that's not what I wanted for myself. So I knew early on that I was going to be doing something that I absolutely loved every single day, and B, that I would be working for myself. It was something that was instilled in me, I don't know where it came from actually, but I knew that, growing up, my dad, had restaurants, so he was a business owner, and my mom was working from home, but she was working for herself. So I guess I came from my family, but I knew that this life of just living your life just because this is what people do and this is the norm was not for me. So fast forward to a summer camp job I had, working with kids ages 4 to 12. First time working with kids, I fell in love. I fell in love with childcare. I fell in love with activities and just having fun with the kids all day long. And I kind of started thinking, what can I do when September rolls over and the summer camp is done? What can I do that I can be around kids, have fun, teach them new things, but actually make a living, earn a living, have some income coming in? And that's when I discovered early childhood education. So I signed up, I did my classes. 3 years later, I was working in my field, straight out of college, and I was happy. I was around the kids, and I loved the group, and I was learning new things every single day. But things started kind of swaying away from, I love my job, to, maybe this is not the right place for me, for many reasons. All the daycares that I worked at, and I've done daycares, I've done home daycare, I've done after school program, they all had something in common, where it was I had to fit their mold. I had to fit their program, their curriculum, their rules, their procedures, their policies. And I suddenly realized that I was in my early 20s, and this was not what I wanted. I really wanted, yes, to work with kids and childcare and all that stuff, but I also wanted to run the show. I wanted to create my program and put forth my curriculum and all the stuff that I had learned in school and I believed in, that I couldn't necessarily practice in my jobs because my bosses wouldn't let me, because the center was against it. So the wheels started turning, and then I decided, after I got married and I moved away, and we bought our house, I thought this was the time I needed to make the move. I needed to really just draw that line in the sand and say, this is where I need to do something. This is where I am going to prove to myself that yes, all those years that I've studied and all those things that I had brewing inside of me, business owner, working for yourself, having that freedom of time, being able to be more at home with my kids, this is where I had to make that decision. And I did, and I stopped working, I quit my job, and I just went full force in marketing and research, and just knowing everything I had to know about daycares in my area, in my province, and how I could run my daycare and how I could start it. And again, I was 24 years old. So that's where my business journey started, and I have been in the field ever since. I couldn't imagine doing anything else but that. But along the way, there was a lot of bumps, a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, especially when you're brand new and you don't know what you're doing. It's completely normal. So that's how I started my my business journey, my business. That's how I built my business from scratch, and that's how I really stepped into that employer mindset. So I went from an employee to an employer, and let me tell you, completely different worlds. But I learned so much, and I put together profitabledaycare.com a few months ago because I wanted to help that teacher that's working in a daycare that she hates her boss. And we've all had bosses that we despise, and coworkers that we cannot get along with. All that stuff that happens when you're working in the field. I put the website along with the groups and the YouTube channel together just because I wanted to serve two people. One is that teacher that feels as though she can't open her own center, or she feels really stressed out every time she shows up at work because she knows that she wants to run her own program, and whether that's at home or an actual childcare center, you want to work for yourself. You have dreams of creating your own program and having your own team around you, and just calling the shots and offering amazing, exceptional service to the families that you serve. And the second person I put the group together for was that business owner that's brand new, that has no idea how to set up systems, set up procedures, set up policies, how to deal with hiring and firing, how to make sure that everything is running smoothly in their business. So those are the two types of people that should be in this group, and I think for the most part they are. 95% of the time, these are the two people that I direct my videos to, because I know how hard it is when you are young, inexperienced, and you have no idea how to get your dream of opening your own center up and running. So with that said, I wanted to do that intro just for the new members in the group. My videos are not I don't go off into this whole thing at the beginning, but I just wanted to share that with you guys. So today's video is a fun one. It's 3 documents that every single daycare owner should have set up, whether at the beginning or before you open your doors, to make sure you're operating a smooth business. A business that doesn't require you to be in there all the time, a business that allows your staff to take on responsibilities, and a business that automates things for you and that allows your day-to-day operations to flow smoothly. And this is what I want from you, because it took me a long time to get to the point where I felt that I didn't physically need to be in the center. And once I discovered systems and policies and I hired the right types of people, I can honestly say that I took my summers off and the daycare still runs. I went away for 2 weeks out of the country. I put my phone on Do Not Disturb, and everything was running smoothly. So I think it's important that these are the documents that you should have in place. So if you don't have them already, don't worry about it. If you do, and if you think they need to be tweaked or updated, this is the live for you. So I have notes here because I want to make sure that I don't miss anything. So before you start creating the documents that I'm going to discuss with you soon, obviously you have to make sure that when you're running a business, when you're in those first steps, that you have your licensing requirements, right? That you are up to date with all your background checks and the layout, and the plans of your center have been approved by your city or state officials. Anything that has to do with legal work, obviously, as a business owner, it's up to you. You do your due diligence, you go get informed. No one can do this for you. No one can hold your hand and bring you there. You need to step up and get into this mindset of, I want to open up a business. What do I need to do to get the process rolling? So after you've done that and you are ready, you're in the office and you're ready to start setting up your paperwork, your systems, you're in your office and what else? What do I need to do right now? 3 documents that are crucial in your business, that are crucial when you want to operate a smooth business that doesn't rely on you all the time to keep going. The first one is your policies and procedures booklet. So for those of you that are brand new to daycare, childcare lingo, this is a policy booklet that you will give to every single customer that signs up their child in your program, in your center or in your home daycare. Think of it as your Bible or your rule book or your booklet or your handbook or your guidelines, whatever you want to call it. It's something sacred. It's something that you create that tells your paying customers, this is what's expected of you, and this is what's not what's the word I'm looking for, that will not be tolerated from anyone that steps foot in our daycare. It needs to be clear. It needs to be detailed. You need to give examples because most parents don't understand childcare lingo. They don't understand the words that we know as business owners, as daycare professionals. They have no idea what this lingo is. So you need to break things down. So this booklet is long, and it should be long because it shows your customer that you took the time, you did your research, and that you have put this booklet together that you can give them once they sign up, or maybe you want to upload it on your website if you prefer, if you don't want to waste paper, but something that your customers can look at and refer back to if they have a question, if there is, let's say, a conflict between, or maybe they want to make a complaint, or if there's something that arises in your business that will arise, right? They could go back to this booklet and they can refer to your policies and your procedures. So I want you to understand that this is something that you should handle in a sacred way, and that you should always refer back to, because the last thing you want is let's say something happens and you go back to your policy booklet and you follow your procedures, and then next month the same thing happens with another customer and you just let it slide, or you just handle it a different way. So it's very important that when you're sitting down and you're writing this, it feels good to you, right? You want to do things that feel good to you. It aligns with your values and the beliefs of your center, right? And if you are watching this and you are, you're an aspiring childcare business owner, one of the amazing things you can do is cater this policy booklet to you and what your vision is for your business. So you don't have to follow anyone else's vision but yours, which is really awesome, and it's really exciting, especially if you've been waiting forever to open your own business. So whether that's home daycare or whether that is a childcare business or a preschool or whatever you want to run as a childcare business. So I teach my students that this does not have to be very difficult, especially if you've never written one before. That every policy booklet should have 3 sections to them, and then within those sections there are all your topics. So I find it easier to separate this specific booklet in 3 sections because you'll find that topics are kind of the same in every center all over, right? So whether you're in Canada, whether you're in the USA, you need a nutrition policy, you need a complaint procedure, you need a registration policy. I mean, you need the same types of things, right? So I teach my students in my groups and in my online academy to separate their booklets in 3 sections. And then I wanted to walk you through a few ideas that may help you. So a few things that I teach. Introduction section. Basic, simple. A lot of centers that I've worked at don't even have an introduction section. And what this is an overview of your center. What does it look like inside? What is your educational philosophy? What is your mission statement? Who are you? Where did you come from? Why did you open a business? What are your values? What is the layout? What does the center look like? So let's say if I've never stepped foot in your center, and I'm reading this booklet for the first time, what does it look like? Do you have a gym? Do you have 2 yards in the backyard? Or I don't know, do you have a cafeteria? What does your center look like? So those are a few ideas that you can actually take and really create a really developed overview of your childcare center. So the way I teach this is if you close your eyes and someone asks you, what is your center all about? Like, what does it look like? And you start telling them, oh, we're located here and this is our philosophy, and I really wanted to open the center because of this reason. Just think about how you would describe your center to someone in a nutshell. You don't have to write like a whole novel here, just in a nutshell. Kind of like an introduction to your center. Write that in your overview section. Mission statement, registration policies, right? You need to have a registration policy. You need to have a section where you talk about communication. How do you communicate with your parents? Are you a center that uses apps and softwares? Or are you old school and use regular agendas and paper, right? Complaint policy, that's another topic that must be included in everyone's policy booklet, because the last thing you need is parents that are coming in and are unhappy with something, and there's a commotion happening in the hallway, all the kids can hear it, all the parents can hear it, so you need to be precise. So let me just recap from the beginning. An introduction section for sure, an overview of your center, what's your center about, your mission statement, have clear registration policies, and what those are how do you select the kids that attend your center? What is your selection process like? Do you have to be eligible to attend your center? How do you contact customers to give them an appointment to do a tour, a visit of your center? Do you have a policy when it comes to your tours? Are you the only one as a daycare owner that can give tours, or do you have maybe 1 or 2 staff members that you've trained specifically for this? What else do I add? Administration of medication, really important. Expulsion policy, also another big topic. Birthdays, parkings, allergies. I mean, this book should be thick, it should be detailed, it should be well developed, and it should be broken down in 3 sections so that your customers can open it up and know exactly where to find what topic, and things should be clear. Like, they shouldn't have any questions after they've read this. And again, I give examples. I think it's really important that you meet your customers where they're at, and if you give a customer, a parent, an example of a policy and then the procedure that follows, it's much easier for them to understand, right? And to get behind the policy, right? Because the purpose of the policy booklet is that you are kind of like stating to everyone that's coming in your center what you believe in, but you're also repelling the customers that don't agree with this, right? Because if someone doesn't agree, let's say, with your nutrition policy, if you're running, I don't know, a vegan or a vegetarian daycare, and a customer comes in and they love eating meat and potatoes every single day, they're not going to sign up their child in your center, right? So this is really normal, and it's meant for this reason. Go downstairs, guys. You have 5 minutes. Go downstairs. Sorry, guys. Told you. Now, the second booklet that every center needs to have is an educational program. So whether you call this a curriculum, we call it an educational program where I'm from. I've heard other people call it other things. Hold on. Give me a second, guys, because like I said, my kids will pop in and out. You sit on the bed. Go sit on the bed. Go sit on the bed. Go sit on the bed. Yes, my daughter is afraid because it's raining outside. Okay, just sit. I'm almost done. Okay? Thank you. Now, second booklet that every single center needs to have in place is your educational program. And this you can really have fun with, especially if you've waited to, like, I don't want to say run the show, but actually use what you've learned in school and what you believe in real life, like in practice. Have your staff follow your program, the kids learning from your program, the parents, experiencing your curriculum and your way of teaching and your educational philosophies and methods and all that fun stuff. So you need to create your own educational program. But there's a lot of things that go into a program as well. It's not just on Monday we do this, and on Tuesday we do this, and on Wednesday we do this, because that's boring. It's boring, and I'm not a big believer in repeating the same things every single week. So what I teach in my academy, what I teach to my students is another simple method that you can use to break down what you believe in and how your staff implements it, right? Because it's another thing just telling someone, what do you believe in, right? I believe that kids learn through play. Great. How do you do that? How does your staff do that? How can the parents understand what is that? How can the parents understand what exactly that means, right? Like how do the kids learn? Because a lot of the parents, in my experience, as long as the child brings home an arts and crafts project, they think that they've done something amazing throughout the day. So when I started, let's say, working in centers where I came from schooling that they taught us where, open art, and we go with the kids' needs and their interests. It's just not there. It's okay, Victoria. It was friction because I didn't believe in sending, the same looking art to every single child's parents' home every single night. That wasn't me. That's not what I was doing. So when I started my own center and I had the chance to actually sit and create my own educational program, it was something really amazing. And I hope that if you're watching this and that you are someone that is stuck in a center where you need to follow their curriculum and their program, this is going to be so freeing to you. So what types of things should you include in your educational program booklet? Your mission statement, right? It should be clear. It should be precise. Values and guiding principles. Your staff roles and their responsibilities. Interventions and guidance techniques. Oh my God, this is a big one, right? Like, what does your center believe in? Do you believe in timeout? Do you believe in more diplomatic approaches? You get to write all this in your booklet with examples, detailing everything to your parents. And then you get to add stuff like your checklist, your observations, your routine, your schedules for every single group in your center, and as well as the parents' participation. How do you expect your parents to make sure? How do you expect parents to participate, right? Do you want them to come in every week and do something with the kids? What does your center believe in? So all these are just a few ideas I wanted to throw out your way. Obviously, there's many more things you could add here, but these are all important things that you should have in your center for sure when you are writing your educational program. I know that I'm a part of many Facebook groups where I hear other directors purchasing programs. Now, I'm not really sure about what that's about because I come from Canada, and in our province, there's guidelines, but you can create your own program, and your staff just has to follow it, right? So, and another thing that allows you to hire amazing staff is that if this is in place before you start hiring anyone, and they have this in their hands, and you talk to them about what your center believes in, what you stand for, and what your values are, then again you get to repel employees that, let's say, believe in other things and close-ended art and timeout or whatever they believe in that you don't, and you get to attract those that understand exactly what your vision is for your business and understand your program and your curriculum, and they're in it, like they understand exactly, and they're on board, and they're ready to work for you and to put your program in place every single day with the kids in their group. So that's another reason why you need to get clear on your educational program before you start hiring staff. Because I've hired staff out of desperation. I mean, we've all done it. And especially at the beginning, I didn't know any better. And I hired staff that, let's say, for example, believed in guidance techniques that were not... Okay, Victoria, go sit over there. Go. That were not necessarily what my center believed in. So and I had to let them go after. So just don't do that to yourself. Make sure you're clear on your program. Make sure you understand exactly why you're writing something and that you feel good when you're writing it, right? I don't want you to create something that you don't believe in. And the last booklet that every single center should have, obviously, and I'm sure it's no surprise to you, is a staff policies and procedures booklet, right? I mean, you've created policies for your parents, you've created your educational program that everyone needs to be on board with. Now, staff, right? Like the staff needs to know exactly what they're responsible for, what you expect out of them, what's not allowed in your center, and it's up to you to make this clear in this booklet and not to be afraid to obviously be yourself, but really just to stand firm and describe exactly, what kind of person fits your tribe, your team culture, right? You're not there to hire just anyone off the street. So a few things that I like to add in staff policies, and this is what I teach. Again, these are a few things. I go into this much more detail in my online academy, but I just wanted to mention a few just to get those creative juices flowing. So description of your positions, right? So if you have, let's say, a huge center with 20 positions, so a director, assistant director, a cook, a janitor, I would actually describe every single position, what exactly it meant. So for a director, for an assistant director, for an educator, for an assistant educator, break it down. Staff responsibilities according to their positions. So when someone is hired, it's very important they know that, let's say, if you take on a position of an educator, the chances are you will change a diaper, right? You will go outside to play with the kids. You will be responsible for programming your weekly or your monthly activities. So I mentioned this in here because you'd be surprised that sometimes people come in for interviews and they are so surprised that they have to change a diaper or that they have to make sure their classroom is clean. So avoid that at all costs. Detail everything, detail your staff's responsibilities and what exactly every position means. I talk about salaries and I talk about insurances. I talk about the hiring process. So how do I hire someone? Where do I advertise? Who has the right to apply for the position, right? I really go into detail. How do I interview? When do I interview? How long is the process? I talk about the 3-month probation period that I think everyone should have, right? When you're testing out a new employee that you've hired. I talk about contracts because everyone needs to sign a contract. I talk about sick leave, absences, vacations. I just recently added a new policy in the booklet all about social media because this is real. It's real, right? Like, when I started, we didn't have Facebook and stuff, but now more and more I see that all the staff that I hire, there's always a phone around them, on top of the shelf or maybe in their pocket, or maybe they're wearing like a little Bluetooth thingy here, but create a policy against it because number one, if a parent walks in and they see your teacher with a little Bluetooth thing here or her phone is on her visible, it kind of makes the parent feel like, is she on her phone most of the time or is she taking care of the kids, right? So you don't want that. Second of all, she's hired to do a job, right? You're hiring someone to do a job to take care of the kids and it only takes a split second for an accident to happen. So avoid that. Avoid the temptation by having maybe a cell box that you keep everybody's cells in, or maybe they have cubbies, they have lockers for themselves. Victoria, come on. So a social media policy. And again, another big thing in your policy that I think everyone should add is friend requesting customers and parents of the daycare. So that too, think about how you want to approach it in your center. And of course, obviously everything has to align with your values and your beliefs. But if it feels good for you and you are 100% on board with your policy, enforce it, right? Like it's nothing new. I think every single daycare right now is jumping on this social media policies because I think it's getting out of control. So communication policy, how does your staff communicate with the parents? Do they use apps? Maybe you have an iPad in every single classroom where they update the parents before their shift ends. Maybe you have daily agendas like we do and they just write it down on a paper before they finish their shift. Personal development, another big one. Yes, we're hiring staff and yes, we're paying them well and we want them to do a great job, but do you have a policy where you want your staff to keep learning and to keep growing? Do you offer workshops. Maybe you bring in a professional to do a class, or maybe you have, I don't know, a website you're a part of that you pay every year and all your staff has access to, so they could keep learning and keep growing. Because the last thing you need is to hire someone in your center, and then 2 years later they are still doing the same activities, the same things, the same. It gets really repetitive and really boring, and you start losing customers, and it's not what you want. So, and lastly, code of conduct. So, simple things that you can add in your booklets, but they make the world a difference. Before I end the video, 2 things. First, I want to wrap this up and explain how this can help free up your time, because a lot of you might be saying, okay, we have this, how does this free up my time? It frees up your time in so many ways. Number 1, everyone knows what's expected of them, right? So when you are off on your vacation, or you've taken a few days off to do whatever it is you want to do, and a child is sick, if you have procedures set in place, anyone that walks in your center and is is on board with your policies and your procedures and your program should be on top of procedures, right? You should know that if a child starts vomiting, in my booklet it's written this is what I need to do. I don't need to bother anybody. I don't need to call my boss. I need to call the child's parents and follow procedures, follow protocol. When you set up systems in place that help you, let's say, hire great staff, then anyone that you bring in, anyone that you hire, should be on board with your educational program, right? Because a lot of the complaints that I hear is, I hired someone and they're doing time on when we don't believe it, and they're always on the phone instead of watching the kids, or they're talking to the kids in a bad way, or whatever the case is. Well, why did you hire them in the first place? There's red lights that should be going off if you've set up a hiring policy and a hiring procedure system where you know that there's certain questions you need to ask. Maybe there's certain tests that you need to make every employee go through, a written test, maybe a skills test, whatever the case is for your center. So make sure that you're weeding out those employees that you do not want to have in your center. So when you do want, let's say, to take a week off to go on a vacation with your family, the staff that is present in your center is on top of things. They know exactly that if a tour comes in, this is what I have to do. They know exactly that if I get a complaint, let's say a written complaint from a customer, this is where I hand it in. It's very important that you set up systems in place that deal with staff, deal with your program, nutrition, medication, sicknesses, whatever, and that make the staff and the parents feel comfortable, because when everyone knows exactly what's expected of them and everyone has a role and their own responsibilities, then things should move smoothly in your center. If you've done your job well and you've updated your booklets, I would say update them every year, right? I have a Google Doc that's open, and I just add things that I'd like to update at the end of the year. But things should move slowly. There's no reason for you to be in the center every single day handling things that are already handled in your booklet, right? So very important, take the time before you do anything else. A policy booklet for all new customers that are coming in your center, a staff policy and procedures booklet, really important. And lastly, your educational program. What is your center all about? What do you stand for? What do you believe in? So that was my training for today. I do have notes that go with this training. I will post a link below this video. You can have access to those over on my website on the blog page. I know I talked a lot today, and I'm sorry, but this is something that I really passionate about. So I wanted to also mention something that I'm really excited about, and I have been working on this for the last 6 months. I have put together an online course for anyone that is looking to start their own daycare center. So whether that is a home daycare or whether that is a childcare business, like, you rent a space and you open your own center, I have put together a course that will help you start the process, especially when it comes to policies and procedures. So there are templates, there is obviously videos that you watch with all the trainings. Everything is detailed. Everything is right there in one place where you'll have access to everything. And obviously you'll have access to me in a more intimate setting where I will walk you through every single module. This is a beta group, which means I have created the program. It is not 100% polished because before I do and I relaunch it for real next month, I want to make sure that I am not missing anything, that I have included everything anyone trying to open a center would want to know or would want to have access to. So whether that's registration sheets, contracts, just anything that goes into running and operating a smooth childcare center, I want to make sure that I have added everything in there. And I wanted to offer this to you guys because you have been with me since day one, and I am super appreciative of this. So I am looking for a few beta testers to go in the program and go through it with me and let me know your honest opinions. Like, Christina, yes, this works, or this doesn't make sense, or maybe you can detail this much more. I have Facebook ads training in there. I have trainings on the hiring process and giving tours that convert. I will be launching the course in a month or in a month and a half from now. And the value of the course when I do launch it for real will be in the $300 to $400 bracket. But for all my founding members, for all of you guys that have been in the group with me, I wanted to launch the beta group for $97. It's an awesome deal. I have put so much work into this, and again, I will be there with you step by step. You will be added in a smaller group and we will go through this together. So it's an awesome opportunity if you are in the process of opening your own center and you need that extra help. And it's also a great opportunity for me because I get to learn exactly what you guys need from me. So if you are interested in the $97 course, it's a beta launch course. It is raw, but I would say 80% finished. So you will get the gist of it. And you will understand exactly what it takes, especially if you're brand new, to put together a program and your educational philosophy and all that fun stuff that goes with it. So let me know if you're interested. Either message me or post underneath here. I will post a link in a smaller group where you can add yourself, and I'll have the details in there along with the link where you can sign up for it. So thank you so much for joining. Victoria, you want to say hi? Say hi. Hi. She was afraid because there was rain and thunder, and my kids are afraid of thunder. So thank you so much for joining. What's to come? My kiddos are going back to school in 2 weeks, so videos are going to be calmer and they will be more, what can I say? More, not developed, but more organized and more organized and more to the point. I just wanted to welcome all my new members in the group, and I hope you guys have an awesome Wednesday and end of the week. And I will post all the links underneath this video. If you have any questions, or maybe you want to learn about something different, maybe something that you're not clear about, message me directly or just post it in the group and I will get to it. Bye guys.
Bye.